Thanks for clicking on Wayne.com for the Week 9 edition of Inside the Zone. Final week of the regular season. It's gone by pretty darn quickly, and it's been a very interesting season, especially in the SAC. Let's start there because heading into last week, it looked like it was Snider's conference to win or lose, depending on how you look at it. Dwenger comes in, beats them 20-17, and now Dwenger is in the driver's seat, no doubt about it, heading into Week 9 in a matchup with Wayne. How was Dwenger able to turn the tides in this SAC? Because you're talking about a Dwenger team that lost in Week 1.
Yeah, and you know, unlike you, I was on the Bishop Dwenger bandwagon from Week 1. I told you.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
No, I didn't. No, it was a great win for Dwenger. I didn't see it coming. I thought they could be competitive, but just the way they made plays late against Snider just was tremendous. I thought what they did was they jammed Snider's wide receivers. Really, a lot of teams are playing 5 and 10 yards off of them, afraid of getting beat deep, but Dwenger challenged them and just and kind of bumped them, been physical with those wide receivers, took them off their routes, confused them a little bit, and in effect, it really kind of slowed that offense down.
I don't want to inflate your ego, but yes, when we did our mid-season awards, you had Dwenger down for practically everything. I was like, they're having a good season. I don't know about that. You might have been at least partially right.
Yeah, for the first time.
Amon Clark, 203 yards against that Snider defense. That was a big key. How has Dwenger's offense evolved throughout the course of the season to get to the point where they can put up 20 points against a good Snider defense and do it on the ground and also effectively through the air? Blake Pichelny, over 140 yards passing, very effective in the passing game.
Yeah, I think it's Blake Pichelny, just his development over the course of the year. I think those first couple weeks we really did not see a balanced offense out of Bishop Dwenger, but as the season has gone on, he has gotten more comfortable behind center with his wide receivers. He's really been able to be a consistent passing threat, and that kind of takes the attention away from Amon Clark. If teams can't stack the box, they have to respect that pass, then it opens things up for both the run and the pass, and that's what Dwenger has done the second half of the year.
How were they able to hold those guys? Because we talked about every year or every week, who's going to stop these guys? How do they keep them contained? If it's not one guy, it's the other. They basically shut that down. Was that basically because you see Isaac Stiebling throw a lot of those, like wide receiver screens or short passes that turn into big gains, but were they just able to contain him? Was it the game plan? Was it the tackling? What was it?
I think it was twofold. I mentioned, the way they were just pressuring and bumping those wide receivers at the line of scrimmage. And two, they showed Isaac Stiebling a variety of different defensive looks, made him think a little bit. Isaac is still relatively young and playing the quarterback position. He's kind of a converted quarterback, only a couple years at the position. And I think they got in his head a little bit in terms of made him see a variety of different things. And once he felt he got comfortable, they would change things up and kind of got in his head a little bit and didn't let him settle in and pick defenses apart like he's been able to do all season long. So combination. The secondary was great for Dwenger, and also I think the front seven and the defensive game plan was overall pretty successful in disrupting what Isaac Stiebling and that Snider passing offense likes to do.
And Snider wasn't able to get as much pressure on Pichelny and the Saints offense as we thought. Based on some of the stats that I saw from the game, 0 sacks.
Yeah.
We talked about Lawrence Johnson, how he was going to be a hand to deal with if you're Bishop Dwenger's offensive line, but they gave Blake a ton of time to throw. They gave him great protection that allowed him to make some throws downfield. How do they keep that up? Because Snider's obviously defensive line is one of the better ones that they're going to see throughout the season.
Yeah, but I think that's a veteran offensive line for Dwenger, 5 seniors start. Relatively young defensive line for Snider. They start a pair of sophomores. You mentioned Lawrence Johnson on the edge. And I think it was just the veteran savvy of a really experienced offensive line for Dwenger, just being able to consistently dominate up front and protect Blake Pichelny and open some holes for Amon Clark. I think it was just experience really kind of won the day for the Saints over maybe a more talented defensive front for Snider.
At the beginning of the season, you talk about a loss in Week 1 to Bishop Luers. You talk about not having Chris Schwarzkopf on the sideline. You talk about Coach Tone and his health. How has Dwenger been able to put all those things on the back burner and really focus week to week, improve each week? How would you characterize their season kind of in an umbrella statement?
You don't want to use the word magical season because they really haven't won anything yet. I think the SAC is all theirs at this point, playing Wayne Week 9. They haven't done anything in the playoffs, obviously. But you almost got to look at that word because you mentioned losing Coach Schwarzkopf and Fred Tone's health issues and the opening season loss and coming off 6 straight losses last year. You get Ernie Bojarab taking over as interim coach, just a weird position. And to put all that together, now here you are sitting 7-1. 4 quarters away from 8-1 and winning the SAC Victory Bell. I mean, it's just a tremendous job that they've done, and those kids staying grounded and focused and stuff like that. And Ernie Bojarab has known kind of when to push buttons and when to kind of stand back. Late in the game Friday, he was kind of like a hands-off guy. The assistants are in there working a lot of different things. So they just have hit the right combination in how things work over there. And they're the best team in the area right now. And I think it's Dwenger, Snider, and then a big drop below them. And Dwenger's number 1.